All right, so let's go ahead and get this responsive navigation working. We can see it does toggle back and forth, but if you click on it, it doesn't work. It's also not styled very well. Can't really see it. So let's go ahead and address those issues. So I'm going to expand this just full width for now. And in our app view, we're going to focus on our span class nav toggle. So this is the actual hamburger menu that you saw. Now we have to add a v-on click, and v-on, by the way, is specific to Vue.js, and it's a directive. So v-on, and on what? Well, click, and we set a method here. So we'll just call this toggle nav. All right, so when this hamburger icon menu is clicked, it's going to call toggle nav, and we'll define that momentarily. We're also going to add the v-bind directive, and we could choose style or class here. So we'll choose class equals, and inside of this object, we're going to make a class called is-active to show or bind it to the state of is active. And that's a property that we will set in the component class. So what's going to happen here is when this is clicked, it's going to add or remove is active from this class right here. And the reason we do is active is if we refer back to our documentation of Balma, and we go to our nav section. So we go to components nav. It's going to tell you for responsiveness, 2 additional classes are available. We have nav toggle for the hamburger menu on mobile, nav menu for the menu that's collapsible on mobile. And we toggle right here is active, which is what we're doing now in the code, on nav toggle, which is just down here, right there. And nav menu when nav toggle was clicked. Okay, so a little bit confusing, but you'll see how it works here. We also add the same thing right here. So we're going to copy this, and on our nav menu, we're going to toggle on is active on this element based on whether it is clicked or not up here. All right, so let's go ahead and save that. It's not going to work yet. We have to go down to the script section, which is where the component logic resides. So we're going to add in 2 different properties here, and that's going to be data function. We're going to return is active because that's what we're referencing here in the template, and we're going to set it to false by initially. After this, right here, we're going to put in a comma. We're going to add another object in object or methods rather, and ours is called toggle nav, and we pass in this, or we reference rather, is active equals this dot is active, and that will toggle between true and false. So let's go ahead and save that. We'll go back to our project. Now, if we click it, look at that. So then you can see we have our custom CSS where we added the light gray background and changed the color of these a little bit. So now that is all working. Real quickly, let's just add the CSS to make that more noticeable because you pretty much cannot see it at the moment. So let's go ahead back down here, and we'll reference nav-toggle span, which is for each of those 3 lines. And the background color, we're going to set to C1, C1, C1. So now we go back. If I can find it, there we go. Now we can see it. Cool. So now in the next section, we're going to get focused on adding, real quickly, our footer just down here. Once the footer's done, then we'll focus on the home component and the fact component. And by the way, the fact component, we're not just going to hard code all this stuff in here. We're going to pull from a public API just so I can show you how to do that. And also how we can see the differences between our React, Vue, and Angular.